Principal ZYX Theta adjusted her neural crown as she reviewed the application on her holographic display for the third time. The Kepler Educational Institute had been the galaxy's most prestigious learning facility for over 2 millennia, accepting only the brightest minds from the most advanced civilizations. Never before had they received an application from a species classified as primitive Deathworlders. A human child, she mused to her assistant, Vice Principal Calvin, whose crystalline form shifted through various shades of uncertainty. Age 12 standard cycles. From a Class XI death world called Earth. Surely this is some form of administrative error, Calvin replied, his harmonic voice creating pleasant overtones. Deathworlders lack the cognitive sophistication for advanced multidimensional learning. The application belonged to one Emma Rodriguez, whose academic transcripts were puzzling. The mathematics seemed primitive, the scientific knowledge rudimentary, yet something about the problem-solving approaches intrigued ZYX Theta. The Galactic Education Council mandates diversity initiatives, she said finally, and the human colony did meet the basic admission requirements. Barely. 3 weeks later, Emma Rodriguez stepped off the transport shuttle into Kepler Institute's magnificent crystal corridors, her simple clothing a stark contrast to the flowing energy robes of her new classmates. The building itself defied conventional physics, rooms that existed in folded space, gravity fields that adjusted to each species' needs, and learning matrices that interfaced directly with advanced alien neural structures. Welcome, young Deathworlder. Professor Nick Skaw greeted her at orientation, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. I am your advanced quantum mathematics instructor. Today we begin with 17-dimensional calculus. Emma raised her hand, a gesture that caused several alien students to recoil in alarm. Excuse me, Professor, but I don't have the neural implants for direct data interfacing. Ah. Nick Skaw's voice carried notes of condescension. Then how do you expect to process multidimensional mathematical concepts? Could you maybe show me on a board? Like draw it out? The professor's expression cycled through confusion. Draw it out? What happened next would fundamentally alter pedagogical theory across the galaxy. Emma approached the holographic projection system and began using her hands to manipulate the 3-dimensional displays, rotating complex equations in space, breaking them down into visual components that her classmates had never considered. Where they relied on neural downloads of information, she built understanding piece by piece, question by question. Why does this formula behave differently in the 7th dimension? She asked, pointing to a specific variable. Because the mathematical laws dictate it, replied Veltrix, the top student from Proxima Centauri. But why do the laws dictate it? What makes it work that way? The class fell silent. In their educational system, you downloaded the answer. You didn't question the underlying mechanics. Within a month, Emma's approach had spread throughout the institute. Students began asking, why, instead of simply accepting downloaded knowledge. They started working problems manually before using neural interfaces, developing intuitive understanding rather than memorizing data patterns. Professor Crevel, the theoretical physics department head, found herself restructuring her entire curriculum after Emma's question about whether dark matter could be visualized through analogy rather than pure mathematical abstraction. Imagine, Emma had said during class, that space is like a fabric, and matter creates dimples in it. Now, what if dark matter is like invisible weights that we can only detect by seeing how the fabric bends around them? The Alterian students, who had spent decades memorizing dark matter equations through neural interface, suddenly understood the concept in a way they never had before. Dr. Zaranine, the Academy's leading educational theorist, published a paper titled The Human Method, Discovery Through Inquiry, that became required reading across 12 sectors. But perhaps the most significant change came during a routine physics demonstration. Professor HFY was explaining the impossibility of faster-than-light travel when Emma raised her hand again. "What if we're thinking about it wrong?" she asked. "Instead of trying to go faster than light, what if we could fold space so the distance becomes shorter?" "Theoretically impossible," HFY replied dismissively. "The energy requirements would be. But what if we used natural phenomena? Like, what if there are places where space is already folded, and we just need to find them?" 6 months later, Emma's casual question had launched the most ambitious research project in galactic history. The Kepler Institute's brightest minds were working with human scientists to explore something they called wormhole navigation theory. Principal ZYX Theta updated Emma's file with a note that would become legendary in academic circles. "Student displays unique ability to question fundamental assumptions. Recommend immediate classification upgrade for human cognitive capabilities. Also recommend expansion of diversity programs." Apparently, primitive is a matter of perspective. The galaxy would never be the same.